But thank you all for coming to our workshop today. I really appreciate everybody coming into our first workshop. We're very excited to start these series, and we are going to have many more of these to offer to our clients and to the public. So thank you all again for coming in and participating. The voice you heard was Matt Moline. I am Max Ringel, by the way, one of the account managers with Grit. I am partnered here with Matt Moline, who is the sales and marketing manager for our team, who is helping me. So any questions that you guys might have, please put them in the Q&A section. Matt's gonna kind of help me drive this and get going through it and answer any questions that you guys might have. A little housekeeping, like I said, any questions that you guys have, please feel free to submit them in the Q&A section. We will be doing a Q&A at the end of this and answer any questions that we possibly can. Anything that we don't get to, please feel free to reach out to your account manager or to our sales team if you're not a current client with Grit. So with that, we will take a start into our Teams dive. So I think the best way for us to kind of go through this and kind of show you the great features of Teams is kind of show you how we use it internally at Grit. So I'm going to kind of go over, everything that Teams has to offer. And again, this is, being developed almost daily. They're adding new things for Microsoft, but it is a great collaborative piece that you can use and help grow your organization or help utilize the remote workspace that we currently are in. So with that, we'll take a little dive and we'll go in. So the first thing that I want to show you with Teams is this is kind of the HUD. So this is where you have everything that comes together. So this is your single pane of glass. In here, many of you may know Teams is kind of just like a chat feature, but it's a little bit more robust than that. It is a chat, but it also integrates with your calendar. It also does your meetings. You can make calls on it. You can file share with it. So there's a lot of things that we can do with it. So to start off with, kind of the navigation pane. Hopefully you can see my mouse here. On the left-hand side here, there's kind of your most of your popular apps that you can pin on here. To start with, on top here is your activity feed. So these activity feed is anything that you'd be tagged into, any kind of reactions that you might have or somebody might have to some of your posts is going to be in your activity feed. This will also house your missed calls that you have in Teams or anything such as that. The chat one, which we're probably more used to and more used to seeing, is where you have your organization and has all their chat features. To start kind of a chat, it's pretty simple in Teams. At the top here, you have a little new chat section where you would click on new chat. Here you can add a name, anybody in your organization that is using Teams. You can add an email address, you can add a group or a tag that anybody might be using in your organization. For testing purposes, I'm going to send it here to Matt. Pretty simple, auto-populate, almost just like your Outlook. And you can see it'll pull our previous conversations that we have had. And you can shoot out test, or you can just shoot out and start a conversation. From this pane, you can actually have a video call with that member. So with Grit, we, like I said, use Teams a lot. So this is a lot of our internal communication that we use at Grit. So because a lot of us are remote currently, we can video call, we can normal call, we can chat, we can share screens like we're doing right now. To kind of go through and show, if there's a problem that we're having to kind of, give a visual to anybody who might be helping us. We can add participants. You can add, I'm not sure if there's a limit on participants you can add, but you can add a ton of different people to your call. And then you could pop out the chat if you wanted it on a separate window, which is especially great if you have multiple monitors, which I think we're all kind of familiar with now. So it shows you a recent history of your chat. You can pin chats that you use. We have an account manager huddle that we do daily. I just have pinned here where we can continue a conversation, or if we have questions afterwards after our meeting, we can continue that. So really, it's kind of just, if everybody's familiar with an old AIM, it's kind of that. So the big, more important thing with teams is creating a team. So with this, I'll kind of show you how to create a team and how we utilize teams. So as you can see, I have a few teams up here. We have a general team, a dispatch team. These are kind of used for general communication where we keep important things or we announce important things. If there was something going wrong with or there was something happening with a client, we could post it into a general chat where all of our members of our organization are in, so everybody can be aware of a situation or know what's going on. We have a dispatch team, so that's any of our techs that come on site. We get a dispatch alert every morning that kind of says, who's going where on site, so we know that person is on site and they can make us aware. We can make them aware of any ongoing issues that there might be. So our team, I guess I'll just dive right into it and how to create a team. So a team is just a kind of a placeholder of where you will have your communication. We see it a lot for some of our clients where they have like a project team or a sales team. We have the same thing where all of your sales files or all your sales communication would be in that team. So let me just kind of give you an example of how to create a team and how that works. So at the bottom here, there is a join or create a team. If we click there, it will give us a few different options. It will give us a create a team, a join a team with a code. So if you're looking to join any teams that people haven't invited you to, you can get a code to join those teams. And then there's a public where anybody can go in and they can join that team. So for what we're doing here, we're just going to create a team so I can show you how it works. Gives you a few different options. You can start from scratch on a team, or you can form like a group or team. And then you can actually select from templates. So these are kind of just best practices teams. So if you're new to teams, this might be a great option to start maybe organizing a help desk. And what this will do, it'll create the team and it will actually create channels for you as well. So just kind of like best practice channels. But we're going to start from scratch just so I can show you how it works. So you do have the option to make these teams private or public, and that'll just depend on who you invite into the team. So if you want to make it a private team and you only want your salespeople in there, you can make it private and just add the salespeople in it. We will make this private. Public is where you would go and you would see, like I said in the beginning, there's that grid all public, so anybody can find the team and jump into that team. But we'll create a private team and we'll call it, test, whoops, if I could spell, sales. You can put a description on what this is. Sales team. I think that's pretty simple enough. We'll create. Gives you a little nice work. And here's where you can add your members to your sales team. So anybody that you want to put into said team to start utilizing that team and working in that collab space. If this lets me go, there we go. So now I can start taping in and adding people. As you can see, Matt's my test buddy here. You can make it, you can make him a member or an owner. We're just going to leave Matt as a member currently. And then we'll hit close. And so you'll see here in your feed, you'll see that you have a test sales team that we created. So here on the right is kind of your more options where you can hide the team, you can add channels, you can add members, you can manage your entire team with this menu pull down here. I'm not going to kind of go into that yet. Actually, you know what? Here, I'll add a channel. So what channels are kind of your subsets. If you think about it, it's almost like a subfolder. But this is kind of your subset in your team. So this is where we would house our general information. Let's say we have an ongoing project or an ongoing goal. We can add another channel and we can just call it goal. You can put any description you want in here and then you can select the privacy on it. You can make it private, so it's accessed only to specific groups or people, or accessible by anybody that's in the team. So we're going to add this. So what this will do, it'll add you another kind of subfolder into it where you can add and post anything in here. So it could be anything from you putting information into a wiki saying, hey, you know, this is who we call for this and this is who we call for that. You can add files into here, and then you can actually create files within Teams, which is kind of a very cool feature that I'll show you right here. So if we want to, let's say, add a Word document, and I'm going to ask for Matt's help here, we would click, sorry, go back, add new. We can add folders and any kind of Office program, so Outlook, Notebook, PowerPoint, Excel. So we're just going to do a Word document so I can kind of show you the collab piece of this. This will be our test document. So the great, very cool thing that we utilize a ton, and I think is the coolest thing, is there's a collaboration piece to this. So we could have multiple users in this document. So if Matt, which let's see if you can jump in there really quick. Matt and I can both work on this document, and he's already in it. So you can see that Matt's already in this document, and it actually shows what Matt has put in here. You can add comments. We can have conversations. I can, if he misspelled anything, I could, you know, edit it for him. You know, stuff like that, and we can start typing. And he can just fix anything that I'm in here, and I can fix whatever he has. And the very cool thing is that I can close this now, and it automatically saves. So you'll see that there's a test document. So if I go back in here, I'll see any changes that Matt might make or that I might make. See, he's already put it. Sorry, Matt, that was too quick. So, and then it'll actually give you a catch up of anything that Matt has changed in here as well. So it's a very, very cool collab piece, and this will work for, I believe, all of the Office products. So like I said, Excel, PowerPoint, Notepad. You know, I know Excel's a big one for a lot of people. So then there's like an audit trail, and you can bounce in and out of a document. So very, very cool, very neat. Thank you, Matt. So then this just kind of turns into a file structure, kind of a living, breathing file for our subfolder of goal. Now you can make as many kind of channels or subfolders in that team as you like. And this just turns into a remote piece. So if I'm at home and I need to get into here, I can just log into Teams with the app, and I can dive in here and start working on these documents. So it's very, very cool. You know, we recommend that if you do start looking at implementing Teams in your organization, you know, maybe give us a ring and we can kind of give you best practices of how to do this. It's more how your organization wants to structure it. The bad thing that you don't want to get into is, you know, kind of letting loose and saying, okay, we're going to use Teams and we're just going to start and give everybody access to making Teams. You kind of want to keep it somewhat organized. You know, so we could definitely offer just best business practices of how to maybe to file structure or kind of help you move those files from a physical server, you know, into the Teams environment or SharePoint. So if you don't know too, and that's just reminding myself, Teams uses SharePoint. So it's all integrated into one. So all these documents that I'm putting in here into Teams is actually living in SharePoint. And you can actually access those online as well, or through the Teams app. So let me see if they're missing anything for the channels here. So you can upload documents, of course, from your desktop at home. You can sync your files. You can copy links. You can add cloud storage. You can open in SharePoint. So another great thing with Teams, your calendars. So your Outlook calendar syncs everything into Teams. You can create either in Teams or in Outlook your appointments, and they will all sync into one. You can start new meetings, kind of like what we're doing here in Teams. You can host the meetings in Teams, of course. So it'll show your entire calendar, which is a very, very neat feature as well. Calls, you know, we don't really use, I mean, I'm probably guilty. I don't really use our soft phone system that we have in our office. I use Teams. We have found great success in using the contact lists or calling feature in Teams. It is great. We haven't had any issues. You know, I just find it easier. And the very cool thing too is being able to see kind of where people are at. So as you can see in my speed dial list here, you can tell when somebody is either in a call or if they're away or if they're available. So if I needed to contact Don, I could tell that, you know, he's available right now. He's, you know, probably working on something on the side. I can ring him and say, hey, you know, I need help with this, or can you answer this question for me? It's a really great feature that's just natively in Teams, being able to tell where people are at in your organization. You know, again, we kind of live and breathe by that status in our organization because we are kind of all spread at the moment. And we think that remote work is going to continue. We can see if somebody's busy or on the call, and we can kind of see where everybody's at. So it's a great feature. There is a phone number that you can associate with Teams if you want to have people have a call-in number. There is an additional charge for that with Microsoft. But internal calling to your organization is part of that product. So yeah, it's a very, very cool thing. File shares. This is kind of, like I said, pulling again from SharePoint. These are all kind of our file shares. Anything that I've recently uploaded, anything I've recently downloaded from SharePoint is going to be in this section. There's a Microsoft Teams section, which is kind of just everything that I have recently. Any downloads that I've had actually from my computer that I want to maybe upload into Teams or SharePoint. And then you can also add multiple storage. This is our OneDrive through Grit. So this is everything that I've had, you know, specifically assigned to my OneDrive through our enterprise license or through Grit. Really cool feature. So not to dive too far into it, but the apps. There are a ton of apps for Teams that integrate really well into Teams. You know, I personally like to use the Zoom one, but they have, if you're familiar with like the Apple Store or Android Store, it's kind of the same thing. You can search all different apps that'll plug into Teams and that you can pin on your side here on your navigation bar. Zoom is a big one because I know a lot of people haven't adopted into Teams yet. But here's the great feature. You can have Teams. This can be your single pane of glass, and you can open up Zoom in Teams without going anywhere else. I think it'll make me sign in. I don't know if it'll, let me show you here without getting too far into this. Yeah, okay, perfect. So I'm already signed in. I signed in once already, so it remembered me. You know, it'll give me my my weekly meeting that I have with another client that is scheduled through Zoom. It'll show me, you know, that I have all those meetings in there. If there's any other outside organizations that isn't using Teams that are using Zoom, and you have, let's say, a standing appointment, it'll show that in your Zoom. You can start meetings, you can schedule meetings. So it brings it all into one single pane of glass. It's very, very cool. This is kind of another one that I like to use. It's my tasks. This links into your Outlook. If you're familiar with your taskbar in Outlook, it'll sync right to it. And you can add tasks here. You can add tasks in Outlook and it will pull back and forth. So if you have I don't know, a routine that you do daily or weekly, you can add that task, click it off, and it will come right off and be done on your task list in Outlook. So this is one that I personally use that I like. But again, kind of the sky's the limit on the apps. There's a ton of portability with that, and it works. It seems to work pretty well, the ones that we have used internally. So there's always a help feature too in Teams. So if you ever need helps, there's topics, there's training, there's what's new, any kind of suggested features with that. Let me see here. I kind of want to show you too the other great feature, which the mobility of Teams, right? So there is a phone app, of course, there's an app for that. I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. Let me bounce over to this screen. Bear with me 1 second. So this is the best way I could kind of show you how it works on your phone. But I will tell you that it is seamless and it works fantastically, in my opinion. And you know, if I'm on the road or Matt's on the road or anybody on the team's on the road, you can open up the app and you can actually see pretty much the same dashboard that I just showed you on your mobile device. So let me just kind of go through this here. So there is an app that it's showing you here. And sorry, it might take over at one point because it's kind of an auto thing. But it'll actually highlight and show you kind of everything that you had, like all the features that were on the left sidebar, your calendar, your chat, your Teams. You'll be able to pull all of that via your mobile phone. Very cool feature is that if you go into your calendar and let's say you were joining this webinar on your phone, it'll show you your calendar. You're able to click join. Click here next. You can add this to the device, so any mobile device that you're on, or you can transfer to this device. So if I needed to leave this call, or if I needed to leave my computer to run to another appointment, I could actually transfer it to my phone and it will just continue without kind of losing a beat. So you can kind of run to your next appointment, or if you need to leave for some reason, you could do it through your phone. Next, it'll give you the option to turn on a camera. Of course, all of our phones now, smartphones have a built-in camera. You're able to blur your background if need be. You don't have to have your camera on, of course, but it gives you that option. So once you hit join, it'll look very much like your normal Teams. You'll be able to see everybody who's on the call. You can turn on live captioning. Now this is a cool feature that you can do on the mobile phone or on your desktop. There is live captioning. It is a setting per person, whoever's in the meeting, that you can turn on, which is very, very cool because sometimes I have a hard time hearing, and I can just turn on live captions and be able to see, you know, what's scrolling on there. Let's see, what else is it? It's going to show you how to share. So you can share on your phone as well. You can pull documents from SharePoint. You can pull those files and share them out to the group via chat or whatever you might need to. You can pull a PowerPoint from it and share it from your phone. It's a pretty slick and neat way to have kind of a mobile presence if you need to move and be on the go. It's very, very cool. You can create teams kind of just like you do on the desktop version. I don't think it's going to go into anything else that we haven't really covered. So the big takeaway from the mobile app is that it is very mobile and it's giving you all of the power that you have when you're on your desktop. So another thing I'm just going to show you, so you have it, is the support section. There is a huge amount of content as far as training or educational pieces that you might want to use and look over. It is on Microsoft.com. It's under Teams, and there's a quick start guide, which is very cool, especially if you're newly implementing Teams to your organization. It kind of gives you you know, hey, here's the navigation bar, here's what you click on, here's how you search, here's the command box. So it kind of gives you kind of those reference points to kind of quickly use Teams. So it's very neat. But there's a ton of stuff, and Microsoft is constantly updating this. Matt and I were joking before this, is that we couldn't figure out where they put the mute button. They switched it, and then we couldn't figure out where the share button was because they switched that again, and that was only a week ago. So it was kind of goofy, but a lot of really cool things with Teams, and I can't sound like a broken record, but we really benefit from it as a collab piece, as well as just a communication tool. It's a very, very cool single pane of glass for that. Matt, keep me honest. Am I missing anything before we start taking questions here?
No, Max, thank you very much for just doing a nice overview of just capabilities. As pretty much I think everybody can see, there's a lot you can do with it. There's a lot of areas that you can really dive into that you could spend hours talking about in specific sections. The goal here is we just want to make sure everybody's just sees what is possible, and we're definitely available for any questions that you guys have. Max, we do have some questions that came in as you're presenting, so I'd like to take the remaining time and let's dive into that. So thank you for submitting those questions. Everybody, if you have questions, go ahead and submit them now in the Q&A section. We'll get to as many as we can here. So starting with number one, Max, can you set communication posts to Teams chat for the future, such as like a birthday or an announcement?
I am not sure about that. I would have to dig in and see if that's a capability of Teams at the moment.
Okay, absolutely. We could definitely take a look at that. This is actually a good one here too, and I think the second part to this question I think is a great piece to touch on and just show the power of Teams and how some other people are using it. So Sandy wrote into us. He asked, "I have 2 different Outlook accounts for different companies. Are the teams I'm a member of specific to which Outlook account I'm logged into? And can I be a member of a team outside of my company?"
Yeah, so that is definitely a great question. Thank you for that. As far as a technical aspect, I can't really answer that, but I can tell you is that you can be part of multiple organizations outside of Teams. So we have another partner that we have, another client that I am actually part of their organization, and I can actually hop into their Teams organization, and they are able to set permissions for me to see, what they want me to see. But I can hop into and out of that organization back and forth at free will on that. But your first piece of the question, I would have to defer that to someone a little bit more technical than I, but I can definitely try to find you that answer.
Yeah, we can definitely reach out to us, Sandy. We'll definitely we'll follow up with you on that.
Yeah.
I will tell you too, just to add to your point, which is great, is some organizations like there's a couple of manufacturing clients that we work with that have teams with another manufacturer team, so like part of the sales process. So they're able to share files between companies, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
So I have seen that. So it's pretty powerful what they're doing. Got a question that came in from Adam, and he said our installers have Office E1 accounts while the Office staff uses E3. Is there any functionality which would be limited by the E1 account when it comes to sharing, editing calendars, or file shares between the 2 licenses?
No, as far as the Teams, I don't believe there's any limitation to that. I will have to double check the what you get in E1 versus E3, but I believe Teams is straight across the board. I don't think there's any kind of difference between that at all on the Teams side specifically.
Yeah, even on the base license, when you have Teams, just for the regular business class license, that's all part of it. You will restrict that in the administration settings as far as what if there's any restrictions you as a company want to put under that.
Right, and that is a great point too, Matt. Is that you have the capability to restrict files or anything you want on that level for internal use. So, great question.
Great. I think we'll wait just one more minute just in case there's any other last minute questions coming in. Again, if you are a current client with Grit, and we didn't have time to get to your question today, or you have further questions, and want to take the next steps in implementing Teams, definitely submit a ticket. We will be happy to help you guys out. I don't see any else coming in, Max. So,
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for attending kind of our first workshop. Sorry for my dog barking, the struggles of working at home. But no, I really appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you so much. And my shameless plug, again, check out our social medias, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, check out our website. We are starting to post blogs. We do have a blog post there, but we're going to start updating that content more, and then you should be able to see a schedule of our upcoming workshops as well. And then again, thank you very much. Please feel free to reach out to your account manager or to the sales team if you are not a current partner with Grit, and hopefully we can, dig into this a little bit more. And any recommendations too on workshops that you guys want to see, we would love to hear some feedback on that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And just as a reminder, this is recorded, and we will be sending this out for you guys to view at a later date. Thank you again.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.